From RDS Wealth Management, this is The Retirement.
When you retire, if you want an exciting life, you need a boring investment strategy.
Matters.
If you enter into retirement without a plan for income, you're not retired, you're simply unemployed.
Podcast.
Hey, this is your host, Dale Smothers, and you're listening to the Retirement Matters Podcast. My hope is that you will find the information you need in every single show on how to do one of the three things: either saving more money more efficiently, planning better for your future where you can live in retirement worry-free, or my favorite, how you can live a happy and fulfilled life in this life you have been given. We know that your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending it listening to this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. On this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, we go into the importance of what a healthcare plan can do for you if you have it, and what it will do to you if you don't have it. At RDS Wealth, a plan for your income is not an option. It's baked into your overall retirement plan. We believe in holistic planning here. And as a firm, our goal is to build for a client roadmaps in the 5 key areas of the retirement decisions they'll be facing, such as income, investment, taxes, healthcare, and legacy. These 5 areas are going to be very clear for you when we are walking alongside of you in this journey. And while this show certainly focuses on the healthcare component of the Retirement Atlas, if you think of it in the grand scheme of things, not having a plan for your healthcare expenses in retirement could be very detrimental to both your investment plan and your overall income plan. I think it's safe to say that if we were to put a budget for everything we spend in retirement together, the line item titled healthcare would be the single most expensive item that we have on that budget, no matter what your goals are in retirement. If you live long enough, it's likely that you will need a solid healthcare plan for how you will pay for things like long-term care or Medicare, which is the point of this show. We're not discussing healthcare plans in the context of health insurance plans. Instead, we are directly addressing the need for a plan for how you will pay for things in retirement when it relates to healthcare, how you will pay for Medicare, how you will select the best Medicare plan, how you will pay for long-term care, making sure that the farm or the house is not taken by the nursing home. And in some instances, depending on when you retire, how do you bridge the gap between the date of retirement and your eligibility for Medicare? All of this is discussed in this podcast, and I do believe that you will find great value in this if you are approaching this decision. Either close to retirement or close to Medicare age, healthcare planning is extremely important for you, and we're going to discuss all of that in detail today. I hope you enjoy this podcast. I hope that it brings value to you. And if you do like what you hear on this podcast, go ahead and like or subscribe to this channel, and be sure you are sharing this with people you know could also find it very valuable. All right, so with that intro out of the way, let's jump to this podcast titled The Importance of a Healthcare Plan. Enjoy the show. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well and you are ready to start discussing all things retirement matters. If you listen to the show very often, you know that we start every show with what we call our pause for positivity. And today's pause for positivity is going to be a little bit of self-reflection, a little inward looking. And while taking inventory of our own life, while taking inventory of our own actions or reactions to situations in our life, I want you to ask yourself this question, and I will do it myself. Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? And this is a powerful question to ask yourself. I've heard this several times, this analogy of be a thermostat, do not be a thermometer. And I want to take just a minute to explain the differences in case you've never heard of this analogy. There are thermometer type people who simply are reading the environment. They do nothing to change the environment. They simply just proclaim either negativity or sometimes, on occasion, positivity. Things are really bad today, Man, I've had a terrible morning, they may say, as they come into the office or come into the place of employment. We got to do this again. Here's Monday. We've all heard these statements. Those people are thermometers. They are only reading what everyone else already sees or feels. They do nothing to change the environment. Now, it's very unlikely that thermometer-style people will ever read out a positive reading. Think of it as hot or cold. Their thermometer's broken. They can't tend to read the positive environment very well, or at least if they do, they surely do not proclaim anything about it. You never hardly ever hear these people come in and say, today's actually a pretty good day. Things are looking up for me. I've had a phenomenal weekend, or I've got a great weekend in store. Thank God I get to be here on Monday. These words hardly ever come out of their mouth. It's most often a pessimistic reading that you hear from these thermometer-style people. And on the other hand, there are thermostat-style people who find it their responsibility to change the situation, to change the environment. If things are really, really bad, we are going to do our best to make them good. Think of a very hot day and the refreshing feel of walking into a air-conditioned room. This is a thermostat-style person who will take a very bad situation, and just by listening to them or just by talking with them, you begin to find some peace or even comfort in that environment. Now, I think it's safe to say that we all would like to be viewed as thermostat people. We all want to be the person that can bring a little bit of sunshine to a person's life who is maybe having a really, really dark time. But at the same time, we have to realize that there aren't many thermostats out there that don't also have a thermometer attached to them. And I found this very interesting as I was hearing this analogy being brought out. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts, and there was a podcast I was listening to, and it brought up this analogy, and it explained it as if no one had ever heard it before. I think that's a fairly old analogy. I think it's been around for quite a long time, and I'm confident you've heard it. But as they were explaining it, something hit me that they weren't even talking about. And it's a new twist on this. It is that we all have to also understand we need to be able to read a room. If a thermostat gets broken or it gets stuck in the air conditioning mode, it could make people uncomfortable because it's consistently blowing out cold air. No matter how cold the room gets, it never shuts off. And on the other hand, if a thermostat is broken and consistently asking the furnace to blow out warm air, it can make the room very hot and stuffy, uncomfortable in its own right. The reason I bring this up is because there's one side of the argument that says always be a thermostat, always make the world a better place, and we preach that every single day. But I think it's wise to maybe even take some scripture and apply it to this mentality of there is a time and a place for everything. The Bible says that there is a time to cry and a time to laugh. And if we just use that piece of the scripture, we have to realize that, man, there may be a time where, my friend, the best way to be a thermostat or the best way to bring sunshine to their life is to first get down to where they are and be with them. Just spending time with them, hearing their concerns. And from that, together, we can walk out of this dark place. So my pause for positivity this week is very simple. Of course, always be a thermostat if we use this analogy. Always be ready and able to call on whatever resources you have been blessed with to change the environment, to make it a more comfortable environment, and in other words, a more optimal environment for an individual, bringing their day into a more pleasant place. However, there may be times where this type of mentality of I can fix it all just by being super cheerful may not be prudent, because as people go through things in life, they need time and a place, a safe place, to vent, or to mourn. This is what I would ask you to be for your friends, your family, and your relatives, and those around you. Because together, if we have this mentality, and if we can keep our eyes open and see people that are struggling and help them through that struggle in whatever way is necessary, we're going to make this world a better place. And in order to do that, with this analogy in mind, not only do you have to be a thermostat, but you have to also be aware of what your thermometer is telling you. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we are jumping into Retirement Matters. You're going to enjoy this show. I hope that it brings a lot of value to you, no matter where you are on this retirement journey. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Matters, presented by RD Smothers Wealth Management. If you'd like to speak with us, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. And if you enjoy the information in this show and would like to hear more, you can access previous shows by searching for the Retirement Matters podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. We also produce a weekly newsletter. Receive it free to your email inbox by signing up online at rdswealth.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm going to talk about a topic that isn't discussed very often in the world of financial advice. And it's very unfortunate. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that most financial advice out there today is built for those who are looking to grow their wealth rather than manage and protect their wealth as the primary objective. Most of the financial advice that's out there, and it's not bad advice at all, but it is advice that is geared towards the people on the growth side of the mountain. You've heard us talk about this idea of the growth side versus the income side of the mountain, and how there are different tactics and decisions that have to be made on the income side that never have to be made on the growth side. And to quickly recap, in case you've never heard of this, the growth side of the mountain is climbing up towards retirement date, where you're accumulating wealth, you're saving money, you're investing in the S&P 500 and hoping that the market goes up. And then on the decumulation, or the income side of the mountain, you have now crossed into retirement, and you are taking the money that you have made and that you've built over these years, and you've got to live on it. I like to think about a squirrel, perhaps, that is in the summer months and in the spring months, storing all of its food in the tree so that in the winter and late fall, it can go in and still survive. We're doing this in retirement. And one of the things about this journey is, on the way down the mountain, mistakes that you make become magnified. Rules are different. You can make a minor mistake on the growth side and it have no impact at all. You can even make a pretty large mistake on the growth side and be able to overcome it. But if you make a small mistake in certain areas on the income side, it can become detrimental. One of the advisors on our team really likes to equate this to climbing steps. He says, would you rather slip on the way up the steps or on the way down the steps? If you slip and fall on the way up the steps, there's really nothing hurt except maybe your ego if people are watching. But if you slip and fall on the way down the steps, my goodness, there are detrimental effects that could happen there. This is the same in retirement. So if you find yourself starting to make the turn and you're climbing down the steps, or you're coming down the mountain, or in real terms, you are 5 years or less from retirement, this is important to you. Making the right decisions all along this journey is fairly difficult, especially if it's your first time ever being here. And for most retirees, you only do it one time. At RDS Wealth, we help retirees cross that finish line every day. And so what I want to talk about is a topic that you will have to face in retirement, and it is only faced in retirement, and that is a healthcare plan. Now, granted, you have likely heard of healthcare plans in growth phase. Those growth phase healthcare plans cover your major medical expense. You are typically seeing a lot of that premium picked up by your employer if you worked for someone. But when you transition into income phase, it's no longer taken care of by your employer. It's all on you. And you have to make a major decision around one of the biggest pieces of healthcare known to Americans called Medicare. So if you have questions about Medicare, or you are interested in understanding which choices are best for you, or maybe you just are curious where you even start, this show is for you. And we're going to get to some specifics on Medicare whenever we come back. This Medicare show is not intended to make you a Medicare expert, but instead it is intended to help you uncover some questions that you need to be asking your advisors as you are approaching retirement. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick 30-second reset. We are going to come back with this topic in mind, Medicare, and we're going to discuss what your healthcare plan should be looking like in retirement years. It's likely that you need this information a few years before retirement. So we're going to go through all of this on when you should start, what you should be looking for, what questions you should be asking to your advisor to make sure that you are properly prepared for the retirement you've always imagined. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of RDS Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the Retirement Matters Show. We are here talking about the healthcare plan in retirement, what it should look like, and when you should start working on it. We've already discussed how retirees are facing decisions that no other investor have to face. And when we are approaching retirement, healthcare is a concern. Now, for those of you who are retiring early, your healthcare planning needs to start much, much sooner. If you plan on retiring at age 60 or even 55, you need to be very, very clear on how much your health insurance for major medical insurance is going to cost you from the age of retirement to the age of 65. If you are not careful, this healthcare expense, known as health insurance, will derail your plan. It'd be hard for me to count the number of people that I see come into the office. They're discussing with us how they can maybe retire early, and they've got their income nailed down, perhaps, or maybe they haven't, but they've never taken account for how much health insurance is going to cost them. And you need to realize that for the next 5, maybe even 10 years, you could be spending as much as $1,000 or more per month in health insurance alone, because this health insurance plan has been subsidized quite a bit by your employer. You may not have ever even considered that. So if this is the case and you are retiring early, health planning for you, healthcare planning, needs to include the price of normal health insurance. But for many people who are retiring, they're likely retiring at or after the age of 65. And for them, the very first turn in the road comes when they have to decide what Medicare plan to take. So if you are working with an advisor, they need to be very, very aware of what Medicare looks like and how it will impact your plan. Asking them the question of what Medicare should I be taking and why is the first question you should ask. Help me select the Medicare plan that's necessary. So when you come to this decision, you're going to face this idea of Medicare A and B, Medicare D, or Medicare C. Which plan do we take? We call it the alphabet soup of Medicare, and it's only just begun. There are many more letters in Medicare planning than A, B, C, and D. But understanding this first piece is a priority because depending on what plan you take determines whether or not you need a Medicare supplement and then what Medicare supplement you actually need. So let's imagine that an individual does what's normally done, and that's Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, and Medicare Part D. You are now responsible for some expenses that you need to make sure you have budgeted for. You see, because Medicare Part A takes care of all of your hospital expenses that you may incur from 65 and on. Medicare Part B takes care of doctor's office expenses. The doctor's office expenses, though, are not covered fully, and we'll get to that in just a second. And then Medicare Part D takes care of prescription drug expenses. Planning for this is important, and at RDS Wealth, we help you build that plan and even help you select those plans when it comes time. And for those of you who are wondering, When is it time? Well, the answer to that is 3 months before you turn 65 and 3 months after you turn 65. You have that 6-month window of time where, in some cases, you are required to sign up for certain plans of Medicare. So taking Part A, Part B, and Part D may be the route that you go. And if that's the case, then you should start shopping for what's officially known as Medigap, but more commonly known as Medicare Supplement. This supplements the 20% that Part B does not pick up. It's an additional premium for you on top of Medicare, but if done correctly, you can see that your expenses for out-of-pocket medical expenses are well defined, and you can start budgeting for what it's going to cost you, no more than X, whatever that is for you. This Medicare plan inside of your healthcare plan is important for you when trying to set a true income target. If you can go into retirement knowing the maximum that any kind of major medical event is going to run you, then man, you have got a leg up in making sure that you don't have to worry about running out of money. This is where Medicare and healthcare planning plays a big role. But what if Medicare A and B and D is not the right direction? What if Medicare Advantage is the right direction? Well, what is Medicare Advantage, Dale? This is Medicare Part C. Part C supplements and takes care of A, B, D, and your Medicare supplement plan. Oftentimes it's a little cheaper, but oftentimes this coverage is more restrictive. Now, for the sake of radio, we won't go into the details on this. But what I do want you to realize is that you have options when you get to Medicare age. And when you get to Medicare age, you may quickly realize that your advisor is a growth advisor. They have no idea on how you should be taking Medicare, nor can they give advice on what plans you should select. And this is a great indication that it's time to start searching for a retirement income advisor. Now, a lot of people may decide, instead of switching advisors that are handling their money, that they're just going to go forward and find a Medicare insurance salesman. You may decide to do your own research and look up which plan you need and then go out and buy it from a Medicare shop. And that's not altogether the wrong decision. But one thing that I am confident of is that if you're not looking at your healthcare plan as a part of a holistic plan that includes your investments, making sure you're not running out of money in the down market, include your income, making sure you're getting the right amount of income you need to not only pay for your normal living expenses, but that healthcare plan. It also includes the taxes that you have to pay on that income and the taxes that you will pay on those investments. This holistic plan is the way that you should be approaching your retirement. And if you're not doing it this way, it's likely that you may have pieces that do not coordinate with one another as you begin to put together your own retirement puzzle. If your investment guy is doing one thing and maybe you have an income idea that you're trying to construct on your own, and golly, I hope I don't pay too much in taxes, so I'm just going to hold a little bit back, but I don't want to pay too much, so I'm not going to hold as much as maybe I should. And while I'm here, I need to make a decision on Medicare. We have a lot of people that we talk to that are in that shape. And when they realize that there are actually firms out there in this world who will help them piece all of that together and make sure that their puzzle actually fits together to form a pretty picture, you can see them relax. Our goal here at RDS Wealth is to make sure that you are retiring in a state where you can live happy. And a lot of that has to do with eliminating the fear and worry around the decisions you must make in your retirement income journey. You know, again, there's the growth side of the mountain and the income side of the mountain. And for people who are reaching Medicare age, they are likely very close to, if not already in, the income phase of retirement. So making a Medicare decision is something that you and your retirement advisor should be sitting down to discuss. If you're looking for an advisor that you can do that with, give our team a call. 270-600-PLAN. We have a specialist that Medicare is all they focus on, And we have a team behind that works on shopping the right Medicare plans for you inside of your holistic retirement plan. Now, if Medicare alone was the only decision that needed to be made in the healthcare plan, we would be done here. But it's not. There is an even bigger decision that has to be discussed and addressed in your healthcare plan. And so what I want to do is I want to take a 60-second reset. And when we come back, we're going to take a real high-level overview on what this last piece of the healthcare plan needs to entail. Don't go anywhere. We're going to give you some information that you definitely need, especially if you want to make sure that the nursing home does not take your home or your family farm if something were to happen that you need their services. We'll be right back after this quick reset.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Matters, presented by RDS Wealth Management. We help folks just like you retire the way they desire and live happy in retirement. If you'd like to speak with us, maybe even just ask some questions, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. And if you enjoy the information in this show and would like to hear more, you can access previous shows by searching for the Retirement Matters Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. That's the Retirement Matters Podcast, available to you 24/7 wherever you listen to podcasts. We also produce a weekly newsletter. Receive it free to your email inbox by signing up online at rdswealth.com. That's rdswealth.com to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. Our phone number, once again, 270-600-PLAN, and online at rdswealth.com. Be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back. We have about 5 minutes to get through this very important piece of the healthcare plan, something we talk about called long-term care. In retirement, you are going to go through 3 very distinctly different phases of activity and spending, something we call the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. In the go-go years, it's all systems go. It's travel, it's leisure, it's fun, it's spending money. And this is what we call the go-go time of life. It's when you make the most of your memories and you knock out a lot of your bucket list items. At some point after the go-go years have started to dwindle down into what we call the slow-go years, you're starting to maybe feel your age. Maybe you just don't feel like getting out at night because you don't see well when you're driving. So instead of going to see the grandbabies, you have them come into your house, or you order in instead of going to dinner with your spouse. And if we live long enough, it's inevitable that at some point we will enter into the no-go years when we physically cannot go. Our body has failed us, and although our mind may still be there, we're not able to make our body do what we desire. During these years, especially if our mind has failed us as well, we may need assistance doing some things that right now we call activities of daily living. If that is the case, then you will need to also be budgeting for the extra expenses that will come from that. You know, I read a statistic the other day that really shocked me. It was talking about the price of healthcare in America. And it says that the price of healthcare has risen at a pace that is 2 times that of normal inflation. What does that mean? Well, that means that your dollar is not going nearly as far when it comes to the cost of healthcare. It also means to us at RDS Wealth that this healthcare plan that so many advisors have overlooked is perhaps one of the most important pieces of your retirement plan, no matter what your life's objectives may be. Without a properly written healthcare plan, it is likely that you will begin to fear running out of money at some point in your life. And this is why we address this no-go year expense called long-term care. Now, I'm not a huge fan of long-term care insurance. I'm not against it if you already have it, especially if you got it at a decent price. But if you don't have it, or you've recently just seen your premiums continue to climb, there may be a better way. Right now, long-term care policies, a lot of them are, if you don't use them, you lose them. You've paid all of these premiums out, and we never use it. And what happens to all the money that you've put in? Well, it's just sunk cost. It's money that no one ever sees again. And of course, you take it out because you don't want to lose the family farm, and you need some money there to help you pay for these expenses that could quadruple or even 10x over the next 20 to 30 years. This is where long-term care insurance is supposed to protect you. But if you end up not needing it, it is a major drag on your legacy. So instead of paying premiums, there are ways where we can use the money that you already have in your retirement accounts or in your investment accounts and leverage those funds for the unexpected event of long-term care, providing you some shelter and some cushion in this major blow that you will be dealt for long-term care expenses. And if done correctly, this type of protection can be offered to a client without really having to worry about losing the money they have spent on that type of coverage. And if you have properly positioned your healthcare plan in the right way, you and your family can walk away knowing that you are setting yourself up for both you and the next generation to come to truly live happy and live the lifestyle you've always imagined in retirement. All right, guys, and just like that, we are at the end of the show. We have uncovered a lot in this show. I hope that you've gotten something from it. If nothing else, I want you to realize that the healthcare portion of a retirement plan is just as important as the investment portion or the tax portion or the income portion. You've got to make sure that all of these are talking to one another. If you need assistance with that, give us a call, 270-600-PLAN. Any piece of this healthcare plan we can assist you with, and or a holistic plan for retirement. Being able to retire the way you desire is our mission here at RDS Wealth, and we assist clients with that journey every single day. If you need help on yours, give us a call, 270-600-PLAN. We always enjoy talking to you, whether it's in person or right here on the same station next week. Always remember, until we talk again, save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and RDS Wealth Management are not affiliated companies. Investing involves a risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. RDS Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by RDS Wealth Management.